Hello and thanks for joining us. This is the Signature Show and I'm Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Today on the program we are focusing on two issues. One is what has happened to all the monies that organizations like the EFCC had seized, assets, property. What is happening to them? Should there be a separate organization managing these seized assets? We have somebody who's been in the forefront of talking about these issues, talking with us on the program today. Also today, we'll be looking at how do you cause change to happen? How do you bring real change? And who has the capacity to do that? Is it just the government? Or is it the people? Or is it you and I? Well, in Abuja last Saturday, a new group came on board called the Network of Social Entrepreneurs, also known as NOS. And all they've been talking is how to empower the youths, bring change, and make Nigeria and indeed Africa a lot more better. Those are the issues we are looking at today. But first, let's take a break and bring you details of the quarterly lecture put together by NICO in Abuja. The guest lecturer was Dr. Ojus Okalo, former governor of Abia State, who spoke on culture, economy, and good governance, the Nigerian experience.
The slow economic growth in Nigeria has become a source of worry to many well-meaning Nigerians. In an effort to ensure sustainable economic growth, some experts have re-echoed the need for the diversification of the nation's economy. Delivering a lecture at the public lecture series of the National Institute for Cultural Orientation in Abuja, the former governor of Abia State, Dr. Ojus Okalo, explained that over-reliance on oil hurts the nation's economy, insisting that unless Nigeria expands her production and export capabilities, the country will continue to fail economically. Speaking on the theme, Culture, Economy and Good Governance, the Nigerian Experience, Dr. Okalo, who is also a businessman, noted that the country may not have experienced economic recession if it had diversified its economy.
My understanding is that Nigeria suffered recession because we exported mainly oil, and with drastic drop in the demand for oil internationally, we cried. Yes, the drop in the international consumption of oil hurt our country. Why did it not turn out so? Because we depended solely on oil for foreign exchange. The other things we export from the agricultural field added nothing much to our national purse.
He also outlined the economic potentialities in cultural festivals, saying that investing in them will help boost tourism development in the country. While calling for devolution of powers, Dr. Ojus Okalo insisted that the practice where governors come cap in hand to Abuja to collect monthly allocations was inimical to meaningful development. In his welcome address, the Executive Secretary, National Institute of Cultural Orientation, Mr. Louis Eriemola, said that until the country makes culture the bedrock of its development aspirations, the anticipated socioeconomic, cultural, and political lifestyle, as well as the dream of a better Nigeria, will remain a mirage.
If we live our values, our culture of honesty, of obedience to the rule of law, every other thing will follow. It is not the technology. It's our values that drives everywhere. Values drive the economy. And if our values are not right, that's why the speaker kept on talking about there's a need for reorientation of Nigerians. To see that there are potentials in the economy first, before you can begin to tap into it. If not, why would somebody be traveling to Libya and be crossing the Mediterranean? If he believes that there are potential in this nation, he will not go on towards dangerous trips. So the point is that we must believe in our nation. We must see the potentials here before we can tap into them.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, was represented at the occasion by Mrs. Memunat Ladi, Deputy Director of Festival and Carnival, said the lecture series was aimed at harvesting the opinions of experts with a view to maximizing the economic potentials in the cultural sector for national development.
There is no doubt that using culture to harness national and economic development is a focal point of the economic diversification agenda of the administration. I therefore call on Nigerians to be committed and to dedicate selves to the actualization of this vision. It is my belief that you have all benefited from the immense knowledge and experience of the erudite lecturer.
The Minister of Information and Culture noted that several countries depend on culture and tourism for foreign earnings. Are you 18 years and above? Have you registered with the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC)? Do you have your permanent voter card (PVC)? If your answer is yes, what about your family members, your friends, your colleagues, and your neighbors? Remember, your vote can guarantee a better future for Nigeria and Nigerians. Your vote can make all the difference. Your vote is your power. Don't sit on the fence. Be an active citizen. This is a signature show contribution to better citizen participation in governance.
Well, glad to know you're still with us on the Signature Show. And joining me now is a familiar face, Dr. George Ubo. Dr. George is Chairman George Ubo Whistleblowers Network. George, good to see you again after a long time.
Same here, sir.
I think the last time we were together was on the O&M show with Mahmoudi and I. George, you've had these issues with the NNPC and the EFCC. Precisely on Wednesday, 7th of March, a suit you filed against the EFCC came up for hearing. And once again, the EFCC did not show up in court. Tell us what that matter is about.
Well, if you recall, last time we were together on the O&M show, I did say that I'm going to stop any interview regarding this, that I'm going to take the bull by the horn. I have tried the legislative. I took the EFCC to the Senate. Of course, Lamode did not appear. After I presented my evidence, documentary, overwhelming evidence, and thereafter he was invited 2 more times. He didn't show up. He was declared wanted and warrant for his arrest. Or that is an internal thing in the Senate. And of course, he went to court and kept the issue in abeyance regarding that. So I decided to go to the judiciary. Of course, the evidence is been in the public domain that from inception to 2013, the EFCC recovered 2.051 trillion naira, aggregate different currencies when you use the exchange rate then, and out of which the EFCC remitted only 6.7 billion naira to the consolidated revenue fund, leaving a balance of 1.993 trillion naira. So I am asking the court to give that judgment that EFCC owes the Nigerian government 1.993 trillion naira, and I did adduce evidence to show how, although I didn't need to do that, to show how some of the funds were diverted, like the Tafa Balogun on and all that. So again, this is now not the legislative arm anymore. This is the judiciary. 3 times in court, they never made any appearance, and the court has construed that. I mean, you know how it goes, and hopefully we'll get a judgment against them, and that's it.
Okay, it wasn't just the EFCC that you are with in court. You're also in court with the NNPC over setting sums of money. You alleged that the NNPC, in collusion with some other entities, had siphoned
Right.
from the federal government of Nigeria.
Right.
I remember a certain $230 million
Right.
and a certain $301 million. Where is that case now?
Okay, we have been to court 2 times. Again, the NNPC has not appeared in court.
It wasn't just the NNPC that you took to court.
Yeah, I took the president,
Who is the minister?
who is the minister of the Ministry of Petroleum Resources.
You also took
the Minister of State.
Yes, I remember that vividly.
Right. I took, of course, anytime you sue the government, you have to sue the Attorney General. I took the Attorney General to court, and I took the banks involved in the collusion, in the siphoning. You know, Keystone Bank is involved as well. So that one is very clear. When I was engaged by the federal government, and of course in collusion with some whistleblowers, my network, we discovered this is not account monies in the for TSA, you know, that are TSA bound. These are accounts that they have wiped the monies. Like the $230 million is NNPC / Demola Banjo. $230 million. I mean, you are open.
Who is Demola Banjo?
Demola Banjo was a bank, a branch manager of Keystone Bank. So even from the name of the account, the designation, you know that there's something wrong. You can't have NNPC / a branch manager's name as the account name. And that is why I call them the banking sector mafia, because I know what they do.
So who were the signatories to this account?
So now,
was the Banjo a signatory to the account?
that is the issue now. You know how the monies were siphoned, because it's not money that was used to do anything meaningful. The second one is NNPC / FGN security account, through which $301 million was siphoned. 14 transactions, 11 of which happened in one day, siphoned to accounts abroad, Dubai, Citibank, New York, and all that. So we are in court for, you know, and 2 times I didn't show up in court. It's still all part of, you know, the fight against corruption and the whistleblower.
Does this dampen your morale, you know? I mean, you go to the legislature, you don't get results. You go to the court of public opinion, media and all that, no results. You go to the judiciary, it looks like they are stalling. For now, no result. They don't come to court. Does it dampen your morale?
No, because I am an optimist. Everything that has been thrown at me, everything that has happened. Don't forget that when I started blowing the whistle against the EFCC, as far back as 2013, you know, when you now do a comparative analysis, in 2013, nobody wanted to even say anything about the EFCC. I know what I went through with the media houses. Even a governor that engaged me to get money EFCC stole from the state disengaged me and cited the EFCC. So after going through all this, I can say that I'm making progress based on my past experiences. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, so regarding the judiciary, I can't, I mean, my background is law too. I can't fault them because the judicial process takes time. You know, when you come to court, they don't appear, you give time and everything so that when they are making their ruling, you know, they would have had ample evidence to show that you abandoned the case or you are just nonchalant or whatever, laissez-faire, whatever. So I think that is going on. And like the EFCC case, the judge has said, look, come the next time, we're going to have a hearing on this matter and I'll make my ruling. So if you have refused to respond to the, you know, weighty allegations, so they will just take just like they did at the Senate. But don't forget too that the Senate, you can't really, they did their best. They can't come with handcuffs to handcuff Lamode. They did their report and everything, but it was smart enough to, you know, turn the issues of judice. You understand what I'm saying? So now a court of law is going to come and rule that 1.993 trillion naira that belongs to the federal government is being withheld by the EFCC. It becomes a judicial, a court order. That is something that I'm looking forward to happen. And all indices show that they just cannot defend it. It's not possible.
Okay, George. You've generated a lot of interest in Nigeria that some people say you have a certain kind of followership.
Right.
But a lot of people have started looking at you and saying that you keep living on yesterday. All the cases you're talking about is 2013, 2012, and all that. Does it mean that you have not been working on pursuing new money trails that has to do with corruption in Nigeria, since we are still talking about 2012, 2013?
Right.
What have you been doing besides just looking at the ones you've told us a couple of times?
Right.
What is new?
What is new is very heavy. Since the advent of the whistleblower policy, of course, as a foremost whistleblower, after paying a courtesy visit to the Minister of Finance, she promulgated the whistleblower policy. So I visited her January 16, 2017, last year, and let her understand that, the importance of whistleblowing and the areas I have issues with. That is the fact that there need to be a whistleblower office as we have in US. Because when you have different agencies handling this whistleblower thing, you're going to have what we call overlapping functions. And that was exactly what started happening. And of course, that you need to, the issue of whistleblowing is the masses have to have that confidence, that trust, that if the government reneges at any level, reneges is going to trickle down, and there will be lack of confidence. So what I did was I formed George Ubo Whistleblowers Network. I have over 3,000 followers, and what I've been able to do with that is I have written all ministries, departments, and agencies in Nigeria through the Freedom of Information Act and of course the Fiscal Responsibility Act to furnish me all inflows and outflows from 1999 to date, because we are going to carry out the audit of how the ministries, departments, even the state government, Edo State responded, how they have been able to spend all the inflows, all the monies given to them. And if you come to my office now, I have a pile of a lot of documents, even banks, some banks responded. So that is what we are doing, and it's a Herculean task, because we have engaged forensic experts to look at how these monies that have been given to the mini MDAs have been spent, so that after that we now go to court as well. Then of course we, through George Ubo Whistleblowers Network, we encourage whistleblowers or would-be whistleblowers, any whistleblower who is suffering adverse treatment, we take that matter to court pro bono, because I started seeing whistleblowers or would-be whistleblowers that were not happy, were not treated well, so they contact me, and I'm handling so many cases like that. So that is what we are doing.
Okay, George. Let's now look at something I remember you talking about like a year ago, when you were talking about what happens to the proceeds of crime.
Right.
And it looked like the legislature is also buying into it. The legislature is also buying into it. And we have this law, proceeds of crime bill, being pushed in the Senate.
Right.
How is this going to help the fight against corruption? Of course, it's something you've been talking about even before now.
Massively. With all the fights people's witness I had with the AGF Malami Regard in the context of the engagement, when I ran into him and he was like, I had spoke highly of him for talking about asset management agency. And he said, I didn't think he would speak good. I said, why not? I mean, it's not like we don't have any issue regarding any personal issue. If you get this done, AGF, your name will be written in gold. That is the heart of the problem I have with the EFCC. You cannot, nowhere in the world, can you have, even the FBI, as dreaded as the FBI is purely an investigative agency. Investigate and you transfer the case to the Department of Justice, the DOJ. If the DOJ feels your case is meritorious, they prosecute. Even within the DOJ, you have the criminal section and you have the civil section. They don't see eye to eye, because you can be convicted on the criminal side, which is based on the beyond the reasonable doubt standard, and the civil is preponderance of the evidence. So these are two lawyers handling your matter. Then, while your case is going on, the assets they seize from you, nobody will even know. Most of the hotels you go, some hotels you stay in abroad, may be going through forfeiture. You won't even know, because the asset management agency of that country ensures that if a hotel that is raking in billions a year, they know that the goodwill of that hotel is going to fall significantly if you let the public know that it's going through forfeiture. All this one you put in yellow tape. No, they don't do that. You will not even know. Look at Chelsea Hotel in Abuja. What is going on? All because of the late Alamesia's case. So that is the issue. That is why you have to have an asset management agency, because if you do win the case, they have to return your vehicles, your hotel, your whatever to you as. In fact, during the pendency of your criminal case, you have the right to write the prosecuting agency, the asset management agency, regarding the status of your asset. It's still your, because it's still going through interim forfeiture till that final forfeiture. Now, look at what is going on in South Africa. With everything Jacob Zuma, you have the NPA, National Prosecuting Authority. That has nothing to, they have nothing to do with the investigation of Zuma. That is what I wish. That is my wish for this country. Let us do things well. Let us have law enforcement agencies that are just to investigate. Because in my opinion, and that is why I refuse to practice law in Nigeria, I still think it violates the spirit of fair hearing if somebody investigates you and prosecutes you and seizes your assets. So if somebody wants your asset worth $1 billion ab initio, they can trump up charges against you to get to that forfeiture. But if they are to investigate and transfer to the prosecuting agency, who will look at the case and see whether it's frivolous or meritorious, they don't see eye to eye. Even within that prosecuting agency, the civil department will not know what the criminal department is doing. It now brings into play that, fair hearing. Nobody is going to be presumed to be violating you. And that is exactly what happens, because when you look at a report Farida Waziri wrote when she came on board, a 5-man panel she put together, I have that document. The 5-man panel indicted, that is EFCC staff, indicted EFCC in the context of management of assets, how they grossly undervalue assets, call their cronies, and sell the undervalued assets to their cronies. And you see, that violates the spirit of fair hearing. I have been in Atlanta. A guy, a Cuban guy who couldn't speak English. He was arrested for drugs. They found drugs in his house, quite all right. But when he got to court, he kept raising his hand. The judge said, "What is it?" No English, no English. They got interpreter. He said, when these agents came, they stole. They didn't, what they declared they took from it. It's not what they took. The judge stopped the case, and they had to even dismiss the case, because you cannot violate that spirit of fair hearing. That is what I wish, I'm looking forward to, and I'm challenging the NBA. We have intelligent lawyers who have practiced abroad. What I'm saying resonates. Is what South Africa here, look, that's what they're doing to Zuma. So I'm not even going to cite US or UK. African countries, that's what they're doing.
Okay, Judge. The summary of it is that in this anti-corruption war, there needs to be division of labor along lines of expertise and specialization.
Exactly. You can't have one agency to investigate, arrest, prosecute, go through seize, go through interim forfeiture, final forfeiture, recover it, manage it, and assert what I call perpetual dominion over the asset. Sell it. That is exactly.
Okay, George, thanks for coming on the show. As usual, we are keeping a tab.
Thank you.
If there are things that are new, please let's share it with you.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on your show.
That's Dr. George Ubo, Chairman George Ubo, Whistleblowers Network. We'll take a break. When we return, we talk about the Network for Social Entrepreneurship.
And with respect to many wonderful people around this room here, I'm going to speak in general terms. So nobody please take personal offense. I wish to start really from where President Obasanjo ended. Let us start by looking at the age issue. You politely bought it and said, I like to see a critical mass. You see, I've been president for a long time. That's why I'm always careful with your words. Now, this continent is continent of young people. Half of our people here are below 20 years old. Yes? Look at the average age of our presidents. It's about 63, 64 years old. We're the only continent in the world where we have presidents at 90 years old starting new terms. I mean, you guys are crazy or what? We've seen people in wheelchairs, you know, unable to raise hands to standing for elections. This is a joke. Yes, you are right to laugh because the whole world is laughing at us. I always say, I mean, you look around you. You look, United States, an economy of $15–16 trillion. We, all of Africa, are less than $1 trillion. This is a $15–16 trillion economy, right? The most important country in the world, like it or not. Obama, who happened to be half African anyway, became president when he's 46, 47 years old. He's president. If Obama was in Kenya, what he will be doing now? He will be driving a bus maybe. Yeah? You look, really, and he's not the youngest president. Clinton was younger than him. Clinton became president at 46 years old. Kennedy was 40 years old, 40 odd subsequent years old when he became president. Why these big countries, much bigger than us, entrust their economies, their nuclear weapons, their oil resources to people who are in their 40s? And we only pick up people at 90 years old to lead us. To lead us where? To the grave?
In Abuja, just yesterday, Saturday, the 17th of March 2018, a network of young Nigerians came together under the umbrella of the Network of Social Entrepreneurs, also known as NOS, and a symposium was put together which focused on the theme, A New Frontier for the Nigerian Youth. Well, we take the report of that event and then we'll welcome to our studio after that two members of the Board of Trustees of NOS. The giant strides Africa has made notwithstanding, Africa continues to be described with different unprintable names by some Eurocentric scholars and white supremacy leaders following the age-long underdevelopment of the continent, as well as the widespread poverty, hunger, unemployment, and preventable diseases. This situation has fueled migration of African youths to Europe and America in search of greener pastures, not minding the negative consequences on their lives. Only recently, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, while discussing immigration issues, described African countries in a very derogatory and vulgar language unbecoming of a world leader. Though the remark received widespread condemnation from other leaders and commentators, it succeeded in re-echoing the perception and negative sentiments of 18th century European historians about Africa. In Abuja, Nigeria, some young innovative minds under the aegis of Network of Social Entrepreneurs (NOS) are determined to change the negative narrative about Africa by doing things differently. Speaking at the official launch of the NOS Vision to Fruition Symposium series, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Gafar Alawode, and Barrister Femi Adekunle, Legal Advisor and Member, Board of Trustees, said that NOS is poised to galvanize the vast population of ambitious youths in Africa to actualize the needed change in the continent. They promised that the group would build multi-sectoral communities of excellence that would synergize the vibrant energy of the youthful population to achieve positive results.
If you see any bad thing, if you see poverty and emerging prosperity and ask why not, you discover there is no reason why it cannot happen. It gives you internal energy. But beyond energy, we need collaboration that will bring synergy. Because if you use energy and energies are working in different directions, there's no motion.
We are a congregation of people who are passionate about social entrepreneurship. We deploy the principles and the strategies of enterprise and entrepreneurship and even business to causing and galvanizing social change.
On his part, the country director, International Labour Organization ILO, Dr. Dennis Zulu, said that a greater percentage of employed Nigerians work for unregistered companies. He added that skill mismatch is contributing to the growing unemployment figure in Nigeria. Zulu also called on governments to implement policies and apply the relevant laws so as to nip the menace of unemployment in the bud.
The curriculums that are being used to train these young people in these universities are back. I think the technology or whatever they're using is many years back, and therefore they cannot perform. When you're deciding on your career path, don't listen to what mommy and daddy are saying, right? Many of us listen to our parents. No, you need to be a lawyer, you need to be a doctor, you need to be an engineer. Don't listen to mom and dad. Look at the labor market. Talk to your careers advisor. What is happening in the market? Who's being demanded in the market?
In a keynote address entitled Preparing Nigerian Youths for Positions of Leadership, Experience from One Campaign, the country director, One Campaign, Mrs. Sarah Zainab Maka, said that social entrepreneurship is good for Nigeria because it marries two areas, private and social sector.
And why can't we make change and make money at the same time? Why must we do one or the other? And that's what social entrepreneurship is saying. I have to say, though, that as social entrepreneurs, you choose the harder path, but you choose a more fulfilling path. Because it's easy to import stockfish for 5 naira and sell it for 10. But the question is, you might be serving a need, but if all of us decide to import stockfish for 5 naira and sell it for 10, then apart from the fact that we'll really hate stockfish because that's all we'll be eating, we're not really adding value to other parts of society.
The symposium, which was organized by a network of social entrepreneurs, has as its theme, Towards a New Frontier of Prospects for Nigerian Youths. What should we do differently? The program is still the Signature Show, and I'm Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Among social scientists, the debate continues on how best to cause social change. For some people, they say you need millions and millions of people. For others, they say one man can start it. And for yet others, they believe that a few people coming together, focusing on a particular way out of the problem can cause social change. And that's part of what we'll be discussing on this segment of the show as I bring two board members of the Network of Social Entrepreneurs, otherwise known as NOS, to our studio. First is MODESTA ABUGU. MODESTA is a member board of trustees of NOS. MODESTA, we are glad to have you.
It's my pleasure.
Also with us is SOMTO MBELU, a member board of trustees of NOS.
Thank you.
Well, let me start with you, MODESTA. When we talk about network of social entrepreneurs, what are we talking about? Especially when we remember that just on Saturday, NOS brought together a lot of development experts, a lot of people in the non-governmental sector, not-for-profit organizations, together in Abuja to talk about how to cause social change in Nigeria. So when we talk about NOS, what are we talking about?
Thank you very much, Mr. Obiora. So the Network of Social Entrepreneurs is a platform that brings together young people who are working in different sectors, who are social entrepreneurs. By social entrepreneurs, I mean, just like your definition, people who are trying to make impact in their society in their little ways. So if you look at young people in Nigeria, you see that we have a lot of passionate young Nigerians who want to make a change. See, we have people working in different sectors, people in agriculture, young ones are going into farming a lot. We have people in health, people in communication, people in politics who are trying what they can to create an impact, to make a change in Nigeria. So what this platform does is that we bring together all of these people under the same umbrella to see how we can synergize, work on, bring all their work together and create a change. There is this saying that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with people. So we are leveraging on the strength of so many young Nigerians who are working on social good to improve networking, to improve our networks, to improve on the work that we are doing. We are doing this through showing support. This synergy is a way of showing support. For those who do not have a good idea of what their project implies or what it is, we are using the platform to provide a little bit of direction and networks and contacts to them. And for those who are already well established, it's also a platform that is just trying to bring collaboration and partnership between everyone working in social entrepreneurship to make a common change and a good impact.
SOMTO, I discovered that there was a lot of focus on young people, on youths. Like we had people speaking on, focusing the youths properly as it concerns employment and all that. Why the focus on youths? Is it because we hear every day that they are the future of the country?
The youth, they are the greatest assets every country has. And for any nation or for any country to have success or to be great, they have to invest so much in their youth by producing or giving them the right environment where they could thrive, like providing conducive environment for good education, conducive environment for them to be creative, and a very, very good platform for them to show their skills and discover themselves. Because number one, they are not just the leaders of tomorrow, but they are the strong capital every country, every nation needs. And on Saturday, you could see that a lot of focus on them, and the youth too. They had a whole lot of questions to ask. That takes me back to one of the questions someone asked, and then she says, oh, a lot of young people have a lot of great stuff they are doing, very creative, innovative products or ideas that are going on, people doing stuff in their own small platform, but the problem is nobody cares about them. The problem is nobody is providing a conducive environment for them to thrive. And I think that is what the social entrepreneurship, network of social entrepreneurship will be doing, to provide this platform so the young people can collaborate, young people can network, and young people can find a space to think, not just being thinking, but come out bringing out some creative, innovative ideas. And if you also know what drives nations now is innovations, technical, creative innovations. That's what drive the world nations like Singapore, America, Dubai. You see what is happening in Dubai. These are all products, or these are all ideas that are coming from young people. So I think that that is what we'll be doing. We'll be providing a conducive environment where young people can collaborate, network, and also connect with mentors, which is very, very, very important. So you could see in the board of network of social entrepreneurs, we have some seasoned individuals in the sector, development sector, and not in development, so people that are highly placed in the society, and also inclusive with also young people too. So to tell you that we have recognized the importance of mentorship and the role it has to play. So we'll be providing that platform for them to mix, collaborate, and also have some direct relationship and contact with people who have done exceedingly well, so they can easily learn from them and have access to the bulk of knowledge that they have.
One looks at some of the discussions that took place at your symposium, and you learn that yes, government provides a conducive atmosphere, but the driving force are the ordinary people. Where is the relationship between government and civil society, the ordinary people, in causing change to happen?
So I would say the government are the people, or the people who make up the government. The relationship here is, because we know that the opportunities are there, and we, the young ones, or the civil societies, they have a big role to play in dictating the priorities for the government. So that is where we see a great wealth of opportunity, where whatever government decisions, whatever policymakers want to take, the civil society now, constituting the larger portion of the masses, those young ones who are outside the world looking for how to impact their society, they are now trying to help the government figure out the best paths, the best ways to implement their policies to benefit all of Nigerians. So when you see these people doing these things, okay, so the young ones, not just in Nigeria, all over the world, like SOMTO mentioned, they are the drivers of change. So these civil societies are the ones that can help advise or direct the government in the best policies to use and impact positively in the lives of all Nigerians.
You know, when we look at, for instance, what is happening in the United States about the gun law and what secondary high school children are doing, do we have youths in Nigeria with that kind of capacity to, you know, take their fate in their hands and want to make a president, for instance, change his stance on gun control?
Well, honestly, I'll tell you, you could see what is happening on all that has happened on the not too young to run bill, which a whole lot of young people are pushing now. And last week they had a very, very big mega rally in Abuja, you know, telling the president that the young people are ready to take place in leadership, and the time is now. And also, you have a whole lot of wonderful things that young people are doing in Nigeria, and not just in Nigeria, also in Africa too. You know, young people are running big companies. They are coming up with social entrepreneurship projects, coming up with innovative ideas, coming up with ideas that will change the world, and running good companies and good startups. You could see what is happening in Lagos. When Mark Zuckerberg came, he visited Lagos, and a lot of the startups that he had those meetings with are all startups that actually run and managed with young people. You could also see we also have a whole lot of communication firms and industries managed by young people, and especially Nigerians. And I must tell you that Nigerians are ready. They are ready to stand up. They are ready. Young Nigerians are ready to talk now, and they are ready. They know what is happening. They are ready to have their voice heard and all that. But at the same time, I'm also going to also say that we are also open to, because I also think that not just being ready, I think young people also should be able to build their capacity. You know, so you help people say, oh, we have a whole lot of graduates that are unemployable. Well, of course, but people might say that, but I also feel that young people also needs to, we need to build our capacity in area of knowing what is happening in terms of how policies work, how leadership works, how the system works, because until you have these ideas, you know how to tackle these issues and not just tackling issues without facts and figures.
Okay, that takes me to something one of the speakers at your symposium talked about, scale mismatch. I heard something like, look, the curriculum that you have in Nigerian and African schools today are, in quotes, outdated. They don't address the needs of today's employers. How true is this in an environment like Nigeria, Modesta?
I would say this is quite true, because...
And SOMTO also talked about unemployable graduates.
Yes, because I could say that our education, our curriculum is... So someone told me a story of what he learned when he was an old man. He told me a story of what he learned when he was young and what his child is learning now as a young boy. They are the same thing. The curriculum did not change, but the society is changing. The society is progressing, and there is this skills mismatch, like you called it, between youths of nowadays, the people that are coming out of school, and the environment or the society that they are supposed to work in, or they are supposed to create a change. And that is something that we have figured out as a deficiency. That is why NOS was created, to contribute as a platform that can equip these young people who do not have this adequate skill, probably from school, who do not have this adequate skill to go into the labor market. We equip them by trying to organize graduate trainee programs or mentorship programs, or just general trainings that can make them adaptable to the new society that they found themselves in. If you check most of our Nigerian graduates, you realize that most of our graduates, you won't be surprised to see that some of them might not be able to write a CV. Like their simple resume, they will not be able to write a convincing CV. So when an employer sees such a CV, they discard it just by mere looking at it, even without going through it. So that is why this platform is important in setting the youths, or providing that platform for them to be trained. Also, when we create this network, when we create the synergy and this network, we also want to see how we can work in mass to influence policies, influence the educational curriculum, change some things about, trying to match up with the global standard, because things are evolving, and Nigeria also should follow suit.
Latching,
that's right.
Okay. How are you building membership? Do you need a special qualification? Do people need to pay to be members, to be mentored, to have this opportunity to get direction, that synergy? How can one come on board?
NOS is open to all Nigerians, not just young Nigerians, but all Nigerians. And I know some people say they are young at heart, and I know you're young at heart too. So we can say open to every young, creative, innovative Nigeria. So we'll be opening our website very soon, which is www.socialentrepreneurs.org, where if you go, you could fill our form on our Join Us tab, and then we could look at you have some questions, because we want to make sure people that are coming in, at least to an extent, have something to have some creative, bring some value, so that, because we feel when we're talking about collaboration, for you to collaborate with people, you have to bring something on the table. Not just something, it might be knowledge, it might be something, but we want a network where people can learn from each other, when people can gain from each other. So there's some very, very simple questions or simple form that once you fill up, our admin team will go through it, and then we'll get back to people. But like I said, it's open to every Nigerians. And not only that, our platforms are also open. So we going forward, we'll be having some series of programs for mentorship programs, having some professional development programs, educational programs. And not only that, we also have what we call communities of excellence, where we have the educational community of excellence, we have health, we have agriculture, we have public service reforms, we have governance and politics. So we want to get young people who are not just passionate about this area. So we want to get them in these communities of excellence, and also match them up with people who are also doing stuff in those different communities of excellence. But like we said, knows it's all about collaboration, networking, and learning from each other. So we believe through these communities of excellence, they're able to link up and make things happen. And together, we're not just building a very strong Nigeria, we're building a peaceful and prosperous Africa, like we always say.
Most importantly, we want people who are selfless and willing to serve, people who are creative and innovative, and who value the spirit of togetherness, so that it can help us do what we want and achieve it as a group.
Well, I don't think there's a better point to leave this than here. I must thank you, Modesta ABUGU, SOMTO MBELU, both members of the Board of Trustees of Network of Social Entrepreneurs, NOS. We'll take a break. When we return, the signature show continues.
Are you 18 years and above? Have you registered with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC? Do you have your permanent voter card, PVC? If your answer is yes, what about your family members, your friends, your colleagues, and your neighbors? Remember, your vote can guarantee a better future for Nigeria and Nigerians. Your vote can make all the difference. Your vote is your power. Don't sit on the fence. Be an active citizen. This is a signature show contribution to better citizen participation in governance.
And just before we end the program, let me share my thoughts with you. Growing up many, many years ago in Nigeria, I learned about the national development plans, the national rolling plans, the midterm plans. These were efforts made to plan for a greater future for Nigerians and for Nigeria. Of course, the first one I heard about was the 1945 development plan. That was what the colonialists started with. And then after independence, we had the 1962 to 1968 development plan. Of course, during the military regime, we had the rolling plans. And most recently, we had the 2020 vision. When Nigerians flunked on that vision, we added another 20, and we had the 2020 vision. But what bothers me and bothers a lot of Nigerians today is that our country has become a short-term country. If you wanted a loan in a bank and you wanted a long-term loan, nobody was ready to do that for you. They wanted you to get a contract for government, they give you money, you discharge the contract, you return the money 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months. If a governor came into office, he didn't want to make a plan that would move his state into greater glory. Rather, he will want a plan of tarring a road that will stay 2 years so that he can get re-election, doing a borehole whose only usefulness could be for 2 years because he'll be talking about re-election. Of course, everywhere you go to in Nigeria today, no governor is doing any serious business. They're all talking about being endorsed by groups of people for a second term. And then the churches have jumped into it too. People that go for miracles, don't wait for miracles and prayers that will come to fruition after 1 year, 2 years. They want it now, and it has to be now. So if you went to a church and wanted a miracle, if it didn't take place in 3 days, you move to another church because Nigeria has become a short-term country. What happened to all our development plans? Why can't we go back into having those plans so that if one government came, they will do their bit, another government comes and continues from where they stop. I think that's the bane of our country today. And those were my thoughts. I'm bringing us to the end of our program for today. Don't forget that you can reach us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and many others, including our WhatsApp number. Also, don't forget that you can watch this program again and again or watch our old programs if you just go to signaturetv.com.ng. And from the Signature Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Thanks for watching.